G'day. This is a dark episode for mature audiences only. Please, pause and read the disclaimer. If you don't think dark is for you, you won't be missing out. Echo is exactly the same episode. Dark was very hard for me to write, and even harder for me to read. Dark may be hard for you to hear. Season 1, Episode 41, Petrified. Previously, the Mangler lets go of my hair and rushes out of the room, leaving me here in this pile of devices. I know he is going to the MM to fix his arm. Someone else is coming. Oh, it's Claude. He knows that the Mangler will be occupied with the MM for a while. Claude doesn't see me at first, but when he does, he suddenly has such a wicked grin on his face. Oh no, I see what he has planned. Continues. Claude looks at all the sharp devices around me and is now going to the next room to get a broom from the cupboard. Claude wants to use the broom to push the devices aside. The Mangler is still trying to set the MM for his arm. He is not used to settings for an adult. He usually only deals with children in the MM. Claude can't find the broom anywhere and is looking in various other rooms, seething with anger. He eventually rushes in with a mop and pushes all the devices aside. Oh dear, he grabs me by the arm. Claude's grip is getting tighter and tighter. He holds me up so my face is almost touching his, and he's poking his fingers into my arm. Is he trying to break the skin with his nails? Yes, he is. I can see that he wants a reaction, but even though this is painful, I will not let it show on my face. Why is he doing this? What good is it doing him? None whatsoever. Claude lets out a quiet groan and flings me against the wall, holding my arm tight. He hits my back and head against the wall, and he's thinking about doing it over and over again, but decides not to, in case I make a loud noise that the Mangler might hear. Instead, he throws me into the area set up for photos, and I land on the blanket, hurting my leg and arm. I don't understand. He was worried I might make a noise being hit on the wall numerous times, but not worried about the noise of being thrown across the room. How does that make any sense? The blanket slides across the platform, and my shoulders hit the wall. The blanket is very thick and looks more like a thick carpet than a blanket. It's a cream colour, and I know it's wool because my skin is already itchy. Oh no. Cloud has his trousers down and looks like he's going to hurt me. No, please don't. He pulls me by my leg towards him. Oh no. I brace myself. He shoves his penis in my front part. I hear who I assume is Kitty in my thoughts. It hurts. Actually, that doesn't sound like Kitty. Who is that? And why isn't this hurting me? Is it hurting you?
Enjoyment, affection, appreciation. Enjoyment, affection, appreciation.
My voice keeps on repeating these words over and over again.
Affection, appreciation.
What is happening now?
Affection.
Oh, I feel my insides rip. I have felt this before, but I don't feel the pain. I hear someone's thoughts coming from... Are they coming from inside me? Someone named Kitten? Oh, it's not Kitty. She is thinking...
I have been watching Kitty and Leonie as usual, so I will make the connection in my thoughts. with Ambrielle. I have not done this before. I assume I can do it like Leonie did. Yes.
Oh, Claude is going faster and harder, and I feel the tear inside me ripping more. I'm so sorry, kitten. I can't feel the pain, but I assume you do. He puts his hand over my mouth and nose and leans heavily on me. Doesn't he realize that I can't breathe? He's concentrating on other things. He just doesn't want me to scream. I can hold my breath a while, but it's getting hard to stay conscious as the room begins to spin. Oh, the pain. I think Kitten passed out. He's wiping me with the blanket, and as he removes his hand, I gulp in a few big breaths of air. Why is he kicking me? No, not my head, please. No, don't stomp on my face. Oh. I think he broke my nose. I have had a broken nose before. I know what it feels like. He rushes out of the room, and after a moment, the room stops spinning. I know it wasn't really spinning, but that's what it feels like with lack of oxygen for me. I know because this body has been scarred to death and then revived many times before. I also remember being drowned and revived over and over again. I can hear Claude's thoughts as he leaves through what seems like to be a solid wall. Maybe he went through one of those portal things. He was thinking that if he leaves quickly, Emile will be blamed for my condition instead of him, if his boss notices. It would be difficult to miss this, with all this blood on the blanket. The Mangler's not going to be pleased. Well, that's not unusual. He never seems to be pleased. I find Emile's thoughts in the museum room. He's cleaning up. The Mangler wants everything kept looking perfect. Not one speck of dust anywhere, even though he's the one who usually makes all the mess. I thought that Claude and Emile were prisoners here. I think I'll check Emile's memories to see if I can find out where Claude went. Emile's memories reveal that he leaves here by stepping through a portal into a tiny cave with only 3 rooms. Bedroom and lounge room combined, bathroom and laundry combined, and separate kitchen. He can only leave what he thinks of as his cave to come back here to this lair, and can go nowhere else. Conversations with Claude in Emile's memory show that Claude has a similar cave that goes only from this lair and back. They have both tried to escape by stepping into the portal painting at the end of the hall, which is how the Mangler leaves. But the painting doesn't work for them, or anyone else it seems, unless they are accompanied by the Mangler. Emile is of the opinion that the only way he could leave is if the Mangler chooses to take him somewhere else, where he will be of more value than being left here. He has developed a friendship with Claude to some extent, but doesn't really trust him. I look deeper and deeper into Emile's memories and am confronted with his awful childhood, dominated by a woman that he had to call Ma. There was also a man that he was told was his Pa. But besides hurting him, he had no other interactions with this Pa man at all. There was another woman that he called Auntie, but he rarely saw her. This Pa man in his memories Reminds me of Sleepy Man on the surface. Well, if Claude and Emile can only go to their small cave and back, I suppose they are prisoners here, as I suspected. Their jail is just slightly bigger than I anticipated. I hear the Mangler's loud thoughts as he takes his arm out of the MM. I can see that he wants to make sure that my arm will be badly hurt, far worse than his was. He seems to think that it will be revenge on me for injuring his arm. I don't understand. I didn't injure his arm. He hurt it on something that he threw at me. He was hoping to injure me. As the Mangler enters the room, he looks at me. I can feel the rage rising within him, and he makes a loud, low-pitched noise. He yells loudly,
"Who did this?"
Is he asking me, or is he calling out to Emile? He screams,
"Who did this to you?"
Oh, he's asking me. I hear my voice say,
Enjoyment, affection, appreciation.
My voice continues to say these words
Affection,
over and over again.
appreciation.
I don't mean to, it just happens.
Enjoyment,
I just realised that I'm no longer in pain.
appreciation,
Is Kitty or Leonie or Kitten back?
affection,
Is it Kitten? Is she saying these things?
enjoyment,
Yes.
affection,
Kitty said the same thing.
appreciation, enjoyment,
I hear Kitten's voice in my thoughts.
appreciation. They are the only words I am allowed to utter, unless the sound of vibrating my tongue on the roof of my mouth and that odd little mew noise are considered words. He should know this. I know that the scientists will add 3 more things that I can say, but they've not given them to me yet. I am not ready for clients. I will have a loud sound to use for extreme pain, a moan noise for pretend pleasure, and a rrr sound made by doing something in the back of my throat, but I'm not sure how to do it yet.
The Mangler rushes out of the room again, making that loud, low-pitched growling noise.
I am so cold. I wish I could pull a blanket over me, but I'm not allowed. Maybe I should get that little fur coat near the pile of devices that are still on the floor. No, I don't want to move. When I move, I am in more pain.
I hear the Mangler screaming Claude's name. He suspects that Claude did this to me, knowing that Emile is not interested in little girls like that. The Mangler's thoughts are so loud. He has plans for Claude. When Claude returns, he will behave as though everything is fine, which in itself should make Claude uneasy. He is going to expose Claude to black roses, situated in places that only he would look. Claude's locker, on the chairs that only Claude uses, on his food in the kitchen, on Claude's equipment, and on and near other cleaning goods that he uses. Who is Margaret? Oh, I see. She is a woman who brings the supplies for the lair on Wednesdays. What is he thinking now? Is this Margaret woman somehow controlled by him? Oh, he thinks he has full control over her because he has taken her twin boys from her. Actually, they were triplets, but he murdered one of them in front of her. No. Maybe he pretended to cause her heartache. Why would he do that? While she obeys his every whim, her 2 boys stay alive, and she gets to see them once a month, if he is satisfied with her work. Sometimes he just says that he is dissatisfied to deprive her of the relief of seeing them. Why? The Mangler plans to have Margaret deposit 2 black roses in Claude's cave on the bed where he sleeps. He thinks that Claude will be petrified. No one usually enters his cave besides him. Very rarely, the Mangler sends Margaret there to check if anything looks unusual. However, Claude has no idea of this fact. I can see that the Mangler is amused by the word petrified, as he thinks of Claude being petrified, as in terrified, at the sight of the black roses, but also so terror-stricken that Claude is petrified, as in he lapidifies on the spot, meaning that he turns to stone. The Mangler knows that can't happen. However, he still finds it amusing. Oh, now he is thinking of ways he could possibly achieve this, and have a Claude statue that he could keep here in the museum room, which he would find hilarious. Why does everything he thinks have to end with causing people harm? Is finding and implementing new ways to harm people all he ever thinks about? Why? The Mangler screams at Emil. His voice is so loud. Even in this room, I cover my ears. He tells Emil to put me back in the MM, and to make sure that he dislocates my other arm and both my legs before putting me in.
I know what that feels like.
I hear Kitten in my thoughts.
I remember a scientist who hurt me like that. He said that it was a test. His thoughts were awful too.
Kitten, can you hear me? I ask.
Yes. Shh.
She says.
I'm not supposed to hear you. It's against the rules. I can hear Ambrielle. There's no rules about her. I don't think the scientists even know she exists. She has such a pretty name.
The Mangler is still yelling. He wants Emil to take a razor blade and do multiple cuts on my forearms, in the same place he injured himself. Why? I hear hurried footsteps from the other end of the lair. It's Emil. He is annoyed that the Mangler interrupted what he is doing. He doesn't want to put me in the MM. He doesn't want to dislocate my arms or legs or cut me. Not because he's kind, but because he's done that sort of thing so many times before, and he just can't be bothered. Emil is sure that I will be repaired long before the Mangler returns. Oh, I see. He thinks that the Mangler is about to leave. Well, he's right. Emil finds him very predictable. Emil quickly enters the room, and the impatience. I can feel it coming from him. It's unmistakable. When I am connected to Ambrielle, I can sense people's feelings much stronger than I usually do. And we are connected now. However, I'm not sure if I am doing the connection. Maybe it's Kitten. Emil just wants to get back to his work, get it finished as quickly as possible, and exit to his cave, especially since he saw this room and doesn't want to be the one responsible for cleaning it. He wraps the blanket around me and holds each corner. Oh, I see. He doesn't want blood stains all down the hallway. He plans to swing me in front of him in the blanket, making it bump each side of the wall. Here we go. My head, my leg, my shoulder. Oh, over and over again, all the way to the room with the MM. I think every part of me, except my stomach, hit that wall. But I don't feel the pain for a change. I hope Kitten is not in pain, but I suspect that she is. Emil whispers in my ear that if the Mangler asks, I have to say that he cut my arm. I can see that he's thinking about breaking it, but he can't be bothered. He's tired and just wants to go home to his cave. Doesn't Emil know that I can't say anything at all. I have no control of my voice while Kitten is here, and she can only say, enjoyment, affection, appreciation, and make a few odd noises. Even if I could say other things, I wouldn't lie about my arm. He didn't cut it. Emil doesn't adjust the settings. I can see he thinks that the auto setting will be fine. I suppose my body won't have bruises after all, since the will heal every part of me. I feel so tired, so heavy. He rushes to the door, but when he glances back at me, he suddenly notices the things poking out of my face. I can see his thoughts. He wants to pull them out. He comes over and is fascinated, but changes his mind, thinking that the mangler will probably notice if he does this, even if he just glances in from the doorway. He looks at my tail. He really wants to pull that out and hear me scream, but doesn't want the repercussions from the mangler, so just decides to leave. He rushes back to the museum room while hoping the mangler will leave without checking me more closely and suspect that he didn't dislocate my arms and legs and didn't cut me with a razor. Emil thinks that he will just glance in as he goes past the door, as he has done so many times before. Even if he does come in to check, Emil is ready with lies that he did do it and that the has already put them back in place and has repaired the cuts. Well, here I am again in an being repaired so that the mangler or Claude or someone else can me and to me as much as they like. And then when they're finished, return me to the so they can do it again. Why? Why do they do this? Why do they choose to do such awful things? I hear hurried footfalls in the hallway and know that the mangler walked past the open door of this room. Will he leave? Will he step through the ugly painting at the end of the hall? I listen as his footfalls stop. I can see what he is thinking. He is turning around to make sure Emil hasn't silently followed him. He doesn't want Emil stepping through with him to escape. I can feel the removing those things from my face. And I can feel that horrid thing being disconnected from points along my spine as it detaches from me. I am gradually becoming more and more aware of the pain. Oh, now it's bad. I think Kitten is gone. Leonie and Kitty too. Whoever or whatever they were. What was it Leonie said? Personas? I understand what she means. The scientists often think about personas and how to get the exact sort of persona that they want for certain tasks and experiments they want to perform. I've heard many of their thoughts, and they all believe that new personas only come with extreme trauma. I would like to fully understand all that one day, but I always seem to have more important things to concentrate on, like rescuing people. The mangler's thoughts are suddenly so loud, and I can sense his amusement as he turns to leave. He is thinking about what he has planned for Claude. He is picturing in his mind a statue of Claude, and where he would put it in his museum, if it were at all possible. I can feel his amusement as he thinks of the double meaning of what he's deciding to name it. The statue will have a golden plaque, like the rest of his museum pieces, engraved with the words, "How he lived, petrified." Thank you so much for joining me for a cuppa. I appreciate your company.